Title is combating the narrative of black life or black culture that the media focuses on.
Well, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's
That
not.
is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner is gone. The reports say he drowned while trying to save his daughter on a beach in Costa Rica. The headlines call it a tragedy. The authorities call it an accident. But Katt Williams, he calls it something else entirely. And once you hear what he said, you may never look at this story or this industry the same way again. Because this isn't just about a drowning. It's about a pattern, about a quiet war against men who refuse to play the Hollywood game. And if you've been paying attention, you already know the script. Stay quiet, stay compliant, or don't stay at all. Malcolm chose a different path. And for that, some believe he paid the ultimate price. For most people, Malcolm-Jamal Warner will forever be Theo Huxtable, the charming, funny, relatable teen who helped redefine what a young black man could look like on primetime television. But Malcolm didn't just play a role. He represented a reality that Hollywood rarely celebrated: intelligence, integrity, a calm confidence that didn't come with gimmicks or manufactured scandal.
I couldn't initially understand what kept driving him, because it just seemed to me like he was never happy.
He could have easily gone down the typical path so many child stars take: fame chasing, controversy courting, one viral misstep after another. But he didn't. He chose intention, growth, depth. Even when the spotlight faded, he didn't spiral. He built a legacy quietly, without begging for attention. That's rare, and it's dangerous, because the industry doesn't know what to do with people it can't control. July 20th, 2025. Malcolm was on a family trip in Costa Rica, visiting Playa Grande, an infamous but breathtaking beach known for its aggressive rip currents and lack of lifeguards. He wasn't partying. He wasn't on some wild Hollywood escape. He was spending time with his 8-year-old daughter, a man being a father, a black father doing it right. Initial reports twisted the narrative, claiming he drowned while saving his daughter. But that wasn't true. She never entered the water. It was Malcolm and a friend who went swimming. A powerful current hit. His friend barely made it back. Malcolm didn't. Beachgoers and surfers tried to save him. CPR was performed for over 40 minutes. They used a defibrillator. Nothing worked. He was pronounced dead on that very beach. The official cause? Accidental drowning. But something about it didn't sit right. Not with his fans, and definitely not with Katt Williams. Because when you step back and look at the bigger picture, questions start to form. Malcolm wasn't just any celebrity. He was a quiet resistor, a man who refused to sell his soul, who didn't wear dresses on screen for laughs, who didn't dance for clout, who didn't let Hollywood box him into another tired stereotype. He stayed grounded, private.
Heartbreaking new details in the accidental drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
In the morning, Mr. Warner had surf lessons with his family.
Dangerous things to be in an industry obsessed with control. Katt Williams knows that danger firsthand. He's been warning us for years. In interviews, Katt has talked about the cost of keeping your soul intact in showbiz. He's described secret rooms, tests of loyalty, and humiliating roles designed to break your spirit. He's been labeled unstable, paranoid, bitter. But every so-called crazy thing he warned about, it keeps coming true. And now with Malcolm's death, he's pointing to something bigger, something sinister. He didn't say it outright, but he didn't have to. His message was clear. Malcolm's death doesn't add up, not because of conspiracy theories, but because of the long history of silencing those who don't play along. The real ones, they get sidelined, or worse, erased. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Dave Chappelle, Terrence Howard, Orlando Jones, Tyler James Williams, different men, same outcome. Refuse the game, and they push you out of frame. Remember Terrence Howard, leading a hit show, then suddenly underpaid and pushed out.
I spoke with one of the lifeguards in Costa Rica. He reveals Malcolm's 8-year-old daughter was also rescued from the water.
Orlando Jones, sired from American Gods after speaking out. Chappelle walked away from $50 million and was branded insane. And Malcolm, he stayed clean, stayed quiet, raised his daughter in peace, and still, he was ignored. He wasn't flashy, He didn't self-destruct. He just told the truth. And the industry hates that more than any scandal. Malcolm never used his daughter as a prop. No red carpet moments. No Instagram parenting. No public stunts. Just love, privacy, and protection. He was building memories, not marketing. His podcast, Not All Hood, challenged the myth that Black men had to be hardened or broken to be real. He was rewriting the script. And in doing so, he became invisible to the system. Because if you're not selling trauma or trending on TikTok, they don't know how to market you. Now that he's gone, the tributes are rolling in. Streaming services showcasing Cosby Show reruns, news anchors crying on camera, celebs typing long captions about the loss. But where were they when he needed funding for his podcast? When he was pitching projects? When he was asking for real support? They waited until he died, and now they're repackaging him for content.
There was a gentleman, I believe, from Nicaragua that was there with a practice surfboard and was able to get the daughter out. He put her on the surfboard and was able to kind of push her close enough to shore. She was okay. They found Mr. Warner pretty quickly. They could see a shadow on the bottom of the seafloor, pulled him up and put him on top of the surfboard and gave the 5 respirations. That was not successful.
Just like they did to Chadwick Boseman, Nipsey Hussle, Michael Jackson, Lisa Left Eye Lopes. It's the same formula. Ignore them while they're alive. Glorify them once they're gone. The entertainment world props up chaos. It rewards clownery. The louder, the messier, the more profitable. That's the product. Look at the current generation of Black male entertainers. Viral stunts, performative masculinity, fake wealth, and soulless flexing. And the system eats it up. They label it culture. They hand out awards, but it's just noise. Controlled chaos passed off as success. Meanwhile, men like Malcolm, men with discipline, dignity, and purpose, get buried in silence. Not just physically, creatively, spiritually, systemically. Malcolm was a Grammy-winning poet, a jazz artist, a thinker, a man with multiple talents and no need to broadcast them. His podcast wasn't built to trend, it was built to teach. His performances weren't meant to provoke, they were meant to uplift. And that made him forgettable to the fame machine. He never had a mugshot, never had a messy divorce, never had a fall from grace. He just lived, created, and loved his daughter. But that's not enough to make headlines. Until he died.
There were 2 other doctors that were there. They worked on Mr. Warner for at least 30 minutes, and then he was unfortunately pronounced dead.
And the other man who was in critical condition, how is he doing?
My understanding is that he's recovered.
Katt Williams wasn't just mourning a friend. He was sending a warning that if Malcolm's death gets brushed aside, we're complicit in letting the same cycle continue. A cycle where real ones are punished and puppets get promoted. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The industry doesn't reward authenticity. It monetizes it after it's dead. You think Malcolm's death is just another sad celebrity story? Then you're missing the point. This was a man who played by the rules of integrity and still lost the game. A man who refused to trade his soul for relevance and got erased in return. He didn't die because of a scandal. He didn't overdose. He wasn't spiraling. He was swimming on vacation with his daughter. That's it. That's the whole story. And yet, it's also not. Because the world only started listening when it was too late. Only started streaming his voice when it could no longer speak back. And now the question isn't just, what happened to Malcolm? It's why did it take death for us to see him clearly? Malcolm-Jamal Warner lived with purpose, grace, and quiet power. He represented something the industry desperately needs, but rarely protects. And now he's gone. So before the headlines fade and the tribute clips stop trending, ask yourself, will you remember the man for what he meant? Or will you let his legacy get swallowed up by the same machine that refused to support him when he was alive? Because real ones like Malcolm, they don't come back. And if we don't start honoring them while they're here, we're going to keep losing the people who matter most.